Hey everybody, I'm Hannah Anders, and this is the behind the song for Outside Looking In. The concept for Outside Looking In was born out of actually a really close family member of mine went through a very unexpected and really difficult breakup. And they were the couple that you were sure was just going to go the distance. I mean, they traveled all over the world and they're super in love and compatible and beautiful. And, and even the happiest relationships were looking at them thinking, oh my gosh, these two are like destined for each other. And seemingly to everybody on the outside, it ended out of nowhere, and it ended in kind of the worst way that a relationship should and could end. And we were all kind of shell-shocked because even people in the happiest relationships look at it and go, my gosh, if they didn't make it, like that's crazy. What does that mean for relationships everywhere? And so my producer and I sat down and we were talking about that. And as we started to peel the onion of that concept, you really realize that all relationships, the happiest of relationships, go through these really dark times, and all of us have to put on a good face and go out in public or power through some really difficult moments. And so the concept of on the outside looking in, everything looks so pretty and shiny, I think it's something that people can relate to, and I think that it's something that we need to hold a space for in social media where everything's so perfect and everything is presented in this way. The first line of the song, like a sunset, no filter, was a nod to, everything is so doctored and perfect, and that's not real life. Real life is hard, and relationships are hard, and sometimes we get through those things and sometimes we don't. And so I wanted Outside Looking In to be that space that people could go to and have a real moment about the hard times in their relationship. This song for me lyrically has so many great moments that when you're in the studio, most artists when they're in the studio writing tend to think that their ideas are all so great. You're like, oh, it's so great. And then as you live with it, you're like, oh, it's not as great as I thought maybe it was. This song was one of those beautiful marriages between myself and my producer, Dr. Ford, and the other writer, Chris Bradley, on the song, where we all sat down, and as we started to talk about our relationships and the things we'd been through and the imagery of what that looks like to outside people versus what hard times look like when you shut the door and you go home, there were so many lyrical moments. I love the line, everybody wants your life when you're good on paper, like you and I. And I thought that was such a powerful moment, because how often is that the case with not just in relationships, but in the imagery we present to the world, which is this perfect, everything's perfect. My life is perfect. My relationship is perfect. My career is perfect. And again, just sort of calling those things out and calling out what can be sort of the painful stuff going on the other side. So Outside Looking In is possibly lyrically one of my favorite songs I've ever been a part of writing. Last fall, prior to all of the craziness of 2020, we were on tour, and we had been asked to go up to North Carolina and play for a outdoor rafting and ziplining company that hosted us. We had so much fun with them, and brought us in to play some music for not only their staff, but everybody that was local to the area. And Outside Looking In is not one that typically goes into like a live concert set where when you play, larger rooms and larger crowds, people want the energy up. And so we try to deliver that, and we're generally a pretty high energy band. And so there's not always venues and shows where the ballads can find their way in. And this felt like a perfect time because it was me and the two guitar players, and we were outside in this gorgeous setting. And so we decided, well, let's do the ballad. Let's do Outside Looking In. And you have all these like really awesome outdoorsy, adventurous people. And we start to play it, and there's a raft guide, like a wild water rafting guide sitting in the front. And the look on his face through the whole thing, he was so captured by this song. And when we got done with our show, he came up and said, I'm buying your album, and I'm buying your album because of that song that you played about Outside Looking In. He said it just hit me at such a deep level, and that was the switch for me where I knew I had to own your music. And that was such a cool moment, because I think that we, in an effort to entertain, forget that part of the entertaining process is acknowledging every single element of human emotion and human spectrum. And so it was really cool as an otherwise pretty rowdy band to break down and sing this and have it touch somebody in that way. Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. Get this song instantly when you download my new album, Evolution, on iTunes, along with 2 other Grat tracks as a thank you for your support, and stay tuned for more exclusive content.